The most important things in your life should come first thing in the morning. You probably heard of the term eat the frog. And as a veteran, we know all too well about how important structure and routine can be. But when you leave the service, all those external things go away. You don't no longer have someone yelling at you or waking you up at 4:0400 to go to PT. So what now? In this video, I'm going to show you my own personal morning routine that has really made a tremendous impact in my life and in my walk as a veteran, as a civilian who has left for over 3 years now, completely separated from the service, and has helped me shape the trajectory of my life. And it's about reading the Bible. The reason why I say reading the Bible, I felt unsatisfied with where my life was heading, especially when I left the Marines. I struggled with anxiety, depression, isolation, lack of purpose, and I just didn't know who I was anymore. And I think a lot of veterans are struggling with lack of purpose and identity. It feels like it's stripped away from you the moment you leave and then go back to your home, and it might seem freeing at first, but then you're like, what now? What do I do now? And then you have this existential crisis like I did. The reason why I say the Bible reading for me has been important is because this has been able to provide true satisfaction in my life with seeking relationship with Jesus. And growing up, I've always been, I've always considered myself as a Christian. I've labeled myself as a Christian. I grew up in a Christian household. I've been to church. I've done all those things, but I never took it seriously. I never took it seriously, and especially didn't take it seriously in the military. There was like one point in time when in boot camp and recruit training where I probably took it very serious at the time, where I was crying out to the Lord. I was crying out to Jesus. I wanted to completely reinstall faith back in my life, but that was only temporary. When I left recruit training and went into the MCT combat training, when I went to my MOS school, and when I finally got into my duty station, and that kind of fell off. I kind of got separated from that, and it didn't satisfy me, or I didn't stick with the faith. And I would hear it every once in a while, and I'd say I'm a Christian and all these things. I kept the label, but I never kept the relationship. I never devoted myself to prayer. I never devoted myself to worship and praise and to simply crack open the Bible and actually build that relationship with God. So for me to make this decision the first thing in the morning to really dive into the Word, find a few verses that relate to whatever things I'm going through in my day-to-day life, because there are a lot of things that happen with anxiety and depression and loneliness and business and money and fear, doubt. There's so many things, there's so many areas in my life which I want to improve on, and being able to take time and make an appointment with God. I like to think of this as making an appointment with Him for 15 to 30 minutes a day before I do anything else. That has been such an instrumental focus in my life that has helped me in other areas of my life, because how I start the day ultimately matters. If I want to make God a focal point in my life and take it seriously and let Him be the person that helps guide me through all these life situations, I need to make time for Him. What I think is important for veterans in particular, especially veterans, is that we tend to search for answers in the world to try to solve our problems, to solve your problems. But we still feel a void in ourselves when we look into the world. We try to look for answers. We get solutions from the VA. We try to get solutions from the therapists or psychologists or our friends and other family members, drugs, alcohol, pornography, sex, gambling. Maybe those things can be helpful. They don't become long-term solutions. They become quick fixes. For me, in particular, the biggest struggles and addictions in my life weren't drugs and alcohol per se. Thank God for that. But it was pornography. It was doom scrolling. It was video games. It was those kinds of things. Anything that involved a screen, instant gratification, dopamine hit to cope with life problems. And that was a big struggle in my life. That was probably the one area of my life where it has affected my mental health. It has brought me into depression. It made me feel lonely and isolated from my family, from my friends, and I just didn't want to deal with life problems. That was something that really hit me hard in my life. And I think a lot of veterans can feel the same way. When we try to look for the drugs and look for the alcohol, the sex, the gambling, whatever the case may be, it doesn't matter. If we look to the world, we might find some sort of short term answer, but it's never going to satisfy. There is a void within you that you need to fill, and it can't be filled with the world, but it can be filled with the Word of God, the Holy Spirit. And we carry a lot of burdens from time in combat or other things. You leave your whole identity behind to pursue a new life. And I want to give a passage here that does relate well to this. And we're speaking of the Bible, of course, and verses in Matthew 11:28 through 30. Come to me, all who are weary and burdened, and I will give you rest. Take my yoke upon you and learn from me, for I am gentle and humble in heart, and you will find rest for your souls. For my yoke is easy and my burden is light. So that's probably the most relevant thing I could find when it comes to dealing with the burdens of life, especially when it pertains to veterans. The veterans carry so much weight on their shoulders from everything that they've had to deal with, and they feel like they're lost. But this is the answer right here. That's the answer. To come to Him. He wants to carry your burdens for you. He wants you to lay it on Him so you don't have to go through it alone. His burden is light, featherweight. So we need to consider that in our lives and actually spend time with Him and understand Him and get to know Him, because being able to get to know Him in my life, it has made beautiful transformations in my life, in my business, and to being able to serve others and be able to come to others and just congregate with others that have similar faith. It's just a beautiful thing. And if we don't make time for this, especially like first thing in the morning, if there's no other time in your day where you can crack open the Bible or even pull up a verse, then we need to understand what's important in our lives. For to me, I want this to be the focal point in my life, in every area of my life, my personal life, my professional life, my relationships with my family. Maybe I'll become a husband and a father someday. So how can we incorporate this into your life if you choose to go this route, if you choose to want to get to know Him more, get to have pure joy and pure hope in this life, and not have to carry so many of the burdens? How can we make it easy to incorporate it into our life and make it an actual morning routine? Well, for one, you might have to consider one of the things that you are doing right now in your morning. And instead of having to completely replace it, maybe you can incorporate it in your life. Maybe you can integrate it within what you're already doing in your morning. Maybe you go straight to making your coffee first thing in the morning. Maybe you have your phone with you and you could open up the Bible app. You could install a Bible app on your phone, and you could do a morning devotional, open up a verse. The Bible app has a verse a day. Maybe there's something there that you can reflect on, that you can meditate on, that you could pray on, and reflect on what that verse says throughout the day. Just read it while you're making coffee. You could do that. You could have a Bible next to your nightstand. That's what I do. I keep my Bible on my nightstand or on my desk. So this is my office space. I keep it close to me pretty much at all times when I'm in the house, when I'm in my room, or when I'm in my office workspace, because I want it to be a consistent reminder that He is with me, that He is for me, that I have the Word ready at my fingertips and ready for my eyes to see and ready for my mind to digest the message. And just start with a few minutes a day. You can start with 1-2 minutes a day. It doesn't have to be long. It doesn't have to be like all this, oh, I have to do this within 30 minutes or an hour, or else I'm not spending enough time with God. No, you don't have to do that. You could take as much time as you need. You could take as little time as you need. Being able to integrate it with your life. And you might have a busy life. You might have work in a 9 to 5. You might have kids. You might have a spouse that takes up a lot of your day. Make it as easy as possible. Give it a few minutes a day, each day, and building that habit and being more consistent with it. Because it's better to stay consistent with a habit, even if it's small, than to be intense with it one day and then completely throw it out the next. We want to make progress. We want to make consistent daily progress, like all habits. All habits they're not the easiest to build at the start, but once you get used to it, once you make it a routine, do it for a week, 2 weeks, 3 weeks, 4 weeks, it becomes something that becomes a part of you, it becomes ingrained in your life, and then it becomes part of your character, it becomes part of who you are. That's why our identity and purpose was attached to the service, because that was all we knew. That was all we knew for years. So we need to start incorporating things in our life that build a new identity and a new purpose in our life, because this can give it to you. This can be the answer to a lot of the struggles that you might be facing. So make it a morning routine habit if this calls out to you. If you're not doing it already, I definitely encourage you to try it, because it has made a significant impact on my life and building that relationship with Jesus. Because it's not about just the Bible reading itself, which is great, but it's about the relationship. It's about building something that will sustain you for eternity. Because let's face it, eternity is on the line. There's a reason why we have meaning in life. Like life has meaning. And if we understand life has meaning, there's more to it than just this one life. It's attached to something. There's a source for this meaning. And that source is Jesus. That source is God himself. He's the creator of us, and we should be able to take time for him as our Father. I typically don't do too much devotional Bible content like this. I do talk about like other things around discipline, business, things like that for veterans in particular. But this is something that I really want to do more of, because we need people to talk about Jesus more, because he's done so many great things in my life. He's taken me out of so many things. He has literally saved my life. So I want to be able to make time for him, and hopefully this encourages you to take time for him as well. So hopefully this helped. With all that being said, if you are a veteran looking to rebuild discipline, structure, and purpose so you could finally live in freedom. So if you're a veteran looking to rebuild discipline, structure, and purpose back in your life so you can ultimately live in true freedom, I do have a free community of nearly 200 other people, veterans, entrepreneurs, first responders that are looking for freedom in their lives. Feel free to join. But otherwise, thank you for watching the video. Be sure to like and subscribe. Leave a comment down below to know your thoughts. If this really made an impact in your life, if you're already doing any Bible reading, if you've been develop a relationship with God, let me know, because this can definitely make a great impact on your life. With that being said, I'll see you guys in the next video. Semper Fi.